Thanks a lot for coming in and watching. This is Miss Mary doing life with Miss Mary. First live video, one of many to come.
We got some topics that we want to talk about. We're eager to see what y'all got to say in the chat too. But we got some things we definitely gonna discuss. And so like, I wanted to ask you,
you're gonna ask me some stuff?
Yeah, I'm gonna ask you some questions. We're gonna see what we got going on. So is there, what are some like unexpected things that you feel like you've learned from me? Like 3 to 5 different things potentially, you know, as far as, I mean, it could be anything. I know a lot of times we teach y'all a lot of things about technology.
Yeah.
We teach things about like mental health that wasn't discussed in the past or.
Okay. Well, I'll start with, I'll start with technology. Without Michael, Miss Mary would not know technology. There will be no technology in this house because we didn't know nothing. I mean, like from setting up our phones, from me calling him like, Michael, my phone is not ringing. Why can't I get my phone to ring? Mom, go into your settings. I mean, the basics of things, you know, between him and the other kids, but mainly Michael has expressed the most patience with it. And even for his dad, you've expressed the most patience. And the thing of it is too, that I have learned from you is that you wanted me to know. It wasn't like, you know, like I got one child, I'm not gonna call no names, that can get a little frustrated with you, like, well, click on this.
Yeah.
Are you doing it? Put me on FaceTime. Why do I put you on FaceTime? Mom, just some people are not teachers, and there's nothing wrong with that person. Nothing. It's just everybody's not a teacher, and everybody don't have the patience, you know. But for you, you always seem to have the patience, and I'm like, spoon feed me, take it slow. Mom, look for the red button. Mom, look for this. So technology, you have taught me so much about technology. And my first YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, that was us. I can't take all the credit for that. But both of us.
Yeah, but you was the one. You know what I mean? It was it was birthed out of him and his dad always did movies and spent time together. And I got a little jealous.
Mom was upset about that. She didn't like that.
I want some time.
She wasn't with it.
Some time.
She wasn't with it.
What you want to do? And I was like, you know, so then he said, okay, we'll do some videos and stuff. Let's do videos, you know.
100%.
So technology, I would definitely say that you have taught me, even now, to set up this live. Michael came and got it all set up. How do I go live? Show me how to go live, you know. So I would say technology is one component that you have taught me. And I know like a lot of times you can go like to the library and stuff for people who don't have kids and stuff like that. But it's nothing like having your own child teach you, and somebody that's teaching you with patience and understanding that you are a senior and that this is new to you and all that kind of stuff.
And that is a great point too, you bring up, right? So like they do have classes as well. I think that's a great point to emphasize too. Like I know a lot of your viewers are around my age. So for those that don't know, because I didn't know this until a couple of years ago, but like the Apple stores, like if y'all buy your parents or your aunts or your uncles or anybody that's not super familiar with tech, a device, an Apple device specifically, you can go to the Apple store and they have classes like Saturday mornings. Like right now, I'm sure it's a class going on where they just show them, this is how to get your email. This is how to FaceTime your kids. This is how to do this.
But even at that, sometimes some of those people
might not have the patience.
They don't have the patience. So signing up for a class at the library with seniors, or just having somebody who's going to have patience with you and that wants you to get it. You know, like Michael wanted us to learn. I mean, I think you didn't want us to be left behind, you know.
100%.
I can remember too,
I
like booking our flights. Because now,
everything
everything is computer.
digital.
So if you don't have somebody to book your flights and stuff, you know.
Well, I'm gonna take it back even further. Okay. We're gonna stroke egos. I'm gonna stroke mine. Listen, I'm gonna take it back. I remember fixing VCRs.
Yeah.
When I was little kid, you know what I mean?
We
Maybe
had
6 or
VCRs.
7.
Yep, we did.
And I remember a specific family member was like, my VCR ain't working, you know, and I was like, okay, let me see it. And somehow I would fix the VCR, you know what I mean? Those analog devices. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all. I wasn't super familiar. I didn't have any technical skills, but
it
even
worked.
that,
yeah.
So it's always just been like an affinity for technology, and
so if you have, so it's a blessing to have a child that wants you to learn. And my other kids want me to learn too, but we're just talking right here with Michael. I don't want to leave anybody out, you know. But and then having the patience to teach you and wanting you to learn. Like I say, at one point even booking flights and stuff. Yeah. But so definitely, I would say technology. Now, when we talk about mental health, that one I would say came from your generation, my children. Yeah. Because me, and I'm 67, and we just didn't go to therapy. We just didn't.
They used to say, you go to therapy. What you going to therapy for? You crazy?
Yeah.
You got something going on. You don't need to go see no what they call them, shrinks.
Right,
you don't need to go see no shrinks.
Right. And for me, I'm a believer. I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ. So a lot of times I would pray and ask God to help me. And he did. And he did. You know what I mean? But I remember my kids, but it did come a point in time in my life as I got older that I did need therapy, you know, that I did need. And I remember talking to my kids about the situation, and all of you guys were pointing me to therapy. You know what I mean? And saying, Mom, God is still God, and God still does what God does, but God uses these people. You know what I mean? And how you can be so transparent with somebody who doesn't even know you. You can be so raw. So I learned that from your generation, from your sisters who talked openly about, you know, going to counseling, going to therapy. That it was nothing wrong with it. Yeah, you know what I mean. And I've seen the results of it. And I think for me, seeing you talk so openly about it, and like I remember one time calling you, was like, "Oh, Mom, I have to call you back because I got an appointment with my therapist in 5 minutes." What? I thought that was me. You talking to your therapist? Yeah, I am. No. He's like, I got to talk to my therapist. And I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then just how transparent and how open you was about it. You wasn't trying to hide it. You weren't like, you know, because I can remember he would like, literally like, where's the keys? You know, when he would come here and he wouldn't have his car. Where's the keys? Where you going? I got an appointment with my therapist. I'm going to drive to the park and sit and talk. I'm like, what? Oh, yeah. You got to isolate yourself? Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, he didn't want to just sit here and talk in the family room or whatever. He's like, he gets in the car and drives off and go drive to the park or whatever. And very, and look, since I've been 18, let me tell y'all something. I'm very, very discreet and very selective, right, about the things that I do, and very isolated at times, right? Yeah. But therapy for sure is one of those. I think a lot of people, there's definitely, I think, less of a stigma on therapy. And at the time when I started going, what happened was there was a lot of men's mental health started coming up a lot. Oh, and like, you know, because it was for women, it's a lot of things, right? And there is still a stigma for men's mental health. Right. Like we were talking about earlier, how I was saying like some men, not me necessarily, but a lot of men have said like the words, like the buzzwords around therapy, like healing, and, you know, speaking your truth and things. To them, certain men, it can come off as very feminine. And, you know, men feel some type of way about those types of emotions if they haven't been able to process them. So for me, I'll say that was right around the time when a lot of people that looked like me were getting gunned down, and the footage was getting put on TV. The George Floyd stuff. Yeah. Is that when you first got? That was that was when I first started going. When a lot of that started to happen, and it's like, you know, your mental
you start to see a decline in yourself because you're paranoid about just stepping out the door, and you're paranoid around the law enforcement, or you're paranoid around anybody that you feel like is judging you based on the color of your skin. So that was it for me. And then of course, there was also some stuff from my childhood that I needed to discuss with the therapist. But the thing that I really want to emphasize to anybody who hasn't been to therapy, who is thinking about therapy, is that hey, everybody in the chat, what's up? What's up? What's up? I see y'all in there. Put a comment down below. Let us know where you calling from. Yeah, ask a question. Not calling, but tapping in from, I should say. But so one of the things that I really want to emphasize for people who haven't been to therapy, or people who are just unfamiliar with it, or like, what does it look like? Like, I'm in this room. This person don't know me. I'm expected to like spill my life story about all the trauma I've experienced. First of all, the first session is just an intake session. This is when you go in and you're talking to the therapist, and they're just like, why are you here? What is it that you're looking for to get out of this? Have you been to therapy before? The first session is not this like breakdown of tears and emotions and, oh my God, when I was 7, my dog died, and I cried for years, and ever since then I've been afraid of getting a new animal. It's not, that's not what it is. And most of the time, let me say this too, most of the sessions I have had in therapy were just like this. It's a conversation. It is me and at the time my male therapist having a conversation. Hey, how's it going? It's going good. I'm sitting here. I got to cut the grass today. I hate doing that. Oh, really? Why do you hate doing it? Because it's too hot? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's therapy. 90% of the time is just a conversation. The difference between it and having a conversation with people is that the therapist is clinically licensed to recognize things and point it out to you. And there's also your loved ones typically won't judge you anyway, but like there's no form of judgment because they don't know you. Right. You know what I mean? So,
and they're there to help you.
So and I just wanted to emphasize that, like, therapy is sensationalized in movies and in media as this big breakdown moments and like emotional, it's super emotional. That's not what therapy is. 90% of the time. The other 10%, you might have a breakdown, you might have a breakthrough, but 90% of the time it's just you conversing with somebody about how you feel, what you experienced, and them giving you feedback on what they heard.
Yeah. That's it. I know for me, when I did go, how she was able to pull trauma from my childhood that was affecting my marriage.
Yep.
That was powerful for me, you guys.
From all those years ago as a kid.
All those years ago
and how it still affects you.
And how it had spilled over into my marriage and how I had to deal with it. You know, in the unpacking of all of that. You know, that was something. Yeah. So who introduced you to therapy? Because I know we didn't talk about therapy. No. So how did you hear about it or even know to do that?
Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I don't want to get too personal.
How do I say? How do I say this?
We doing life, but I don't want to dig into too much of life.
In the past, I had somebody that I was dating, a young lady I was seeing, and she was like, she called me everybody's favorite word, everybody's buzzword, which was you're narcissistic, and you need to see somebody. Now, I had already been feeling like I needed to see somebody, not because I thought I was narcissistic, but because I was experiencing and witnessing, again, people that look like me getting killed on TV. I was diagnosed with a chronic illness at 7 years old. I had never talked to anybody about that, how that had affected me as an adult, my confidence. Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, and again, I'm going to go see somebody. Yeah. And that was kind of it for me.
Yeah. And you know what, when you said that, how you was diagnosed with a chronic illness at 7. And so to tell you how far removed we were from therapy, we put you into karate.
Mm-hmm.
That was when we saw that, we needed to build his confidence.
100%.
And to make him...
And that worked too.
Be more confident. We put 4 years of a college fund in karate. That's what we did, because we really, that shows you how far removed we were from the thought of even therapy.
Yeah.
Like, hey, maybe we need to put them in therapy. And now that we're talking about this, that's probably something that they need to talk about, like at the hospitals and stuff like that, like to tell the people or the parents and stuff like this.
Sure.
You guys probably need to, reach out and talk to somebody about this life-changing, because now we had a new normal.
Yeah. That was a big change. Normal.
There was a big change.
It's a big change.
They should probably implement that. You know what I mean?
I think that the medical professional, though, has to, they would have to
agree with
their biases. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Because not everybody is cool with it, or not everybody feels like it's effective.
That's true. So how do your generation, as far as like, not necessarily your friends, but I'm just going to say males that you are around. I don't want to just talk about your friends. Just any males that you come in contact. How do they feel about that's around your age? Are they comfortable with it, or a lot of them are not comfortable?
So that's a great question. I know a few of my friends and like people that I've talked to and different things like have gone to therapy.
Okay.
And they've discussed it. But the thing about being a man and like your brothers, a lot of times, I say your brothers, but like your friends and things, right? Like a lot of times that's where we will have our therapy sessions, if that makes sense. When we all get together and it's just us, that's when we will go and, I'm going through this. This just sucks. I hate my job, et cetera, et cetera. Or it's, the opposite. I love my job. Things are going great.
Yeah.
But, that is like us. And obviously it's not a legitimate therapy session.
No.
But a lot of times when you link up with your boys or your homies, like it's, there's a sense of relief. There's a guard that you let down that you do still have up when you're with your lady or when you're, it's just different. It's a different sense of security. I guess that's what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's not to say either that like I don't know, in my friend group, I've maybe seen the homies break down maybe like once or twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like crying and stuff, but like that's typically not what we see, but we do have those sessions. It's just not as emotionally charged.
Yeah.
Maybe as a real therapy session, maybe.
I think too, I was thinking about like, I'm not a male, don't want to be a male. I'm a female, but
I can be anywhere.
But for some things that I've noticed through the process of time of having 3 boys and being my second marriage, one of the things that I've noticed, especially like with your dad, that some of the things that males have to go through, like for instance, I'll give a good example. If I said to my husband right now, like, we're gonna, or you, let's go down to, let's go to Detroit and go to.
I know where she's going with this.
Go to the park, the water.
The river walk.
Let's go to the river walk.
Yeah, I know where she's going with this.
For me, the river walk would just mean we're gonna get in the car, we're gonna go down to the river walk, and we're gonna have a good time. For a male, it doesn't say that. Would you agree or not agree?
100%. For us, it's for us. There's different categories that we factor in. The biggest one, I think, when you're going anywhere with somebody you love, whether they're younger or older, is security. As a man, so you're saying to him, "Let's go to the river walk." He's probably thinking, okay, I got to be mindful when I'm driving of other drivers.
Yes.
Once we get down to the river walk and we're actually walking, I have to be mindful of everything around me because I don't know who any of these people are.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who has bad intentions. Mm-hmm. Security is a big thing, and it's not like something we think about.
Right.
It's really more like something that processes in the back of our brains.
Because as a male, being a protector.
Yeah, that's something that's just engraved in you. It's
engraved in you.
Look at, and everybody in the chat too, y'all can attest to this, right? Like, look at the men when you go out to eat and you sit down. Look at where the man naturally sits. I can tell you most of the time it's going to be where he's facing the door.
Okay.
And that's not something we do consciously. It's unconscious, but that is a security feature because we need to see who's coming in and out. Because if a threat comes through the door, I can see it first and then I can try to react. Right. So security, definitely. Overall, making sure that like a good time is had too. I think that's something that doesn't get talked about a lot too. Like there is pressure for the man to kind of make sure that the night goes well.
Right.
Yeah. And
that's a lot.
That can tap in. Woo. That can mean financially you're covering things. That could just mean you're keeping everybody excited.
Right.
There's a lot.
That's a lot
weight
to handle.
That can go into just taking a trip.
Just the safety part. Because like I said, for us, we're not thinking that.
100%.
We're thinking like, okay, you making sure there's gas in the car, you're going to drive. We sitting on the other side chit-chatting. If you got kids, you're talking to the kids, but you're just having a good time. But I'm not thinking of safety because I'm with my husband, I'm with my son. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But,
but
a lot of that is ingrained. It's not necessarily like a conscious thing. So the stress aspect of it it's still stressful, but it's not something that we're constant. It's not like stress starts as soon as you're like, let's go to the river walk and we're like, oh, got to think about security.
Right.
It's not that.
Yeah. Because I remember one time when your dad, they were going to go on a family reunion and he wanted to take us. And when the first time I recognized the stress of what men have to go through, like making sure you're safe. And I remember your dad always been one, when you get there, call me, let me know you made it safe. Always call me, let me know if I go to Michael's, fly to Michael's, if I go to other kids and stuff, call me the minute you land, let me know. When I get to the airport, let me know that if he drops me off, okay, did you get through the gate and everything? Just constantly checking to make sure that everything went okay. And then I remember your dad had an opportunity to go because this whole family was going on a family reunion. And I told him, I said, you just go by yourself. And he was like, what? No, you don't want to go and bring the kids? And I said, no. I said, I want you to go and just have a good time and not have to worry about nobody but you.
Yeah.
When I recognize the weight of that is worrying about the family, worrying about your kids, worried about your wife, worried about all this, I said, just go and have a good time. And what made it really nice for him is because they had chartered a bus, so he didn't have to drive.
See?
And it was all of them on the bus and all these family members. And even to this day, he said that was one of the best times he had because he didn't have to worry about me, Michael, the other kids. He didn't have to worry about driving. Are we there? Are we safe? Is the car good? He didn't have any of that. All he had to do was just get on the bus. And I remember that I really wanted that for him. I really wanted him to just have that moment where he didn't have to watch over anybody or be concerned with anybody but himself.
That's important.
Yeah.
It's important. And I'm thinking even now, like as I'm out of town and my lady and my son are at the house, like even that, right? So I'm not physically there. And I'll tell you guys this story. We had to have somebody come and look at our washing machine. And I, basically was laying out, I had a conversation with my lady over like, okay, so in the event that something does happen or he tries to do something shady, this is how you use a firearm. This is where the firearm is. This is the safety. This is how you load it. This is the chamber. This is the magazine. You know, you can stash a pocket knife here, and if your sweats are showing, you can conceal this firearm.
Right.
And we had like a whole conversation and a breakdown, and I had her hold it and everything. And, you know, and these are just, again, this is just a guy that, and again, I don't think he had ill intentions, and he's fine, or everything went fine. But these are things that we think about as men when we're not even in the household. And you have a man coming to your house, and it's just your lady there, or it's your lady and your kids.
And I remember when you had told me that too, that, you know, somebody was going to come in and look at the washer.
Oh.
And I told you, I said, well, what I used to do when I was divorced, and I had to have, you know, service people come in the home, or anybody. I would get on the phone.
Yeah.
And I would say, oh, girl, he just got here. So on the phone, he knows I just told somebody he's here. I'm like, how long you think it's going to be? Well, I don't know. I got to take a look at it. Okay. And yeah, I'm chopping it up, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I would tell my friends, like, call me. Or I would call them and be on the phone with somebody, just so there's somebody, know that there's somebody in my home. So that's how I would do it.
1,000%. 1,000%. I could talk all day about the mental health and men's mental health and different things. But with that said, we've been on live for a minute. So appreciate y'all for tuning in to the first live ever on Doing Life with Miss Mary. More to come.
Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is a Saturday I'm doing a live, but I am going to plan on going live on one day during the week. I don't want to put it out yet until I'm for sure what day I'm going to be going live. But thanks, guys, for watching.
Appreciate y'all.
You. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.